Hey guys, I just thought now I've been talking a lot about Rand Paul lately, but no, I think I only made one Rand Paul video. I might have made more than one, but I think I only made one Rand Paul video. But I gave my thoughts on Rand Paul. Uh, Basically, I've gave some thoughts on the Republican presidential election. But I think I should give my brief general thoughts on the Democratic election. I'm a little late to the party now because there's only three people running. There's only three people left: Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, and Martin O'Malley. First of all, Jim Webb and Lincoln Chafee. I'm going to give my quick, brief thoughts on them, even though they already dropped out. Jim Webb was kind of forgettable. I mean, he wasn't forgettable. He was actually kind of quite fun to make fun of. I'm running out of time here. I'm running out of time. Or he didn't say he was running out of time, but y'all don't give me enough time. Like every time they gave him a chance to talk, he would basically complain about not having enough time to talk, and he wouldn't even use his. And then he got it in the closing statement, and then he just made a joke about Vietnam. Like, what the crap? Like, he had his chance, that was his moment, then he just made a joke. Yeah, so I found that very funny. I hear he might be running third party, which, kudos to him. I support third party. Yeah, I did. Like, I think I'm going to vote third party in the general election. I don't know for who yet. I heard Jesse Ventura might be running third party as a libertarian, and I would support Jesse Ventura. Even though Jesse's been acting very weird lately. He's been acting very weird lately, I think. But I'm not going to go into that yet. But Jim Webb, I think Jim Webb is, he was actually in the first debate, hearing his thoughts on gun control was I kind of agree with Jim Webb on gun control. Yeah. I know this is kind of an unpopular opinion nowadays, but I'm pro Second Amendment. Me, myself, I'm not much of a gun nut. I think guns are cool, but I'm not obsessed with guns or anything. But, yeah. But I do support the Second Amendment, for reasons I'm not going to go into right now. But I thought he was good on the Second Amendment in the debate, a very good contrast to everyone else. Other than that, he was kind of okay. He didn't know much about it. I didn't really know much about him. I don't really know much about him to give much of an opinion. Next, Lincoln Chafee. I heard Lincoln Chafee's opening statement, then I was like, this guy might actually get my support. He was all anti-war, anti-corruption. And then he began talking more, and he voted for the Patriot Act, and he seems genuine. He seems like a good, genuine guy, but I think the fact that he voted for the Patriot Act, I don't know. He didn't seem too competent. As much as I hate to say that, because I actually do see some potential in Lincoln Chafee. I honestly felt bad for him because people were pushing him around and treating him poorly, even though he actually did make some sense. But just his incompetence is what kind of made his campaign a laughingstock. Okay, now to the three here running now. Martin O'Malley. Don't know much about him, honestly, based on what I've seen. He's just a typical politician. He's just fair. Okay, let's get to the big one. Bernie Sanders. Okay, I'm libertarian-leaning, and me as someone who's libertarian-leaning, I can say that I disagree with a lot of Bernie's economics. However, I think he's good on the drug war. I think he's almost perfect on the drug war. Yeah, he's good on campaign finance reform. I support campaign finance reform. I support campaign finance reform that limits the amount of money a politician can take in, as opposed to how much can be donated. Bernie wants public funded elections, which I don't support that. I don't support the idea of my taxpayer money funding people I don't want to fund. Yeah, I mean, I don't support public funded elections. Let's say there's an election. I don't want my taxpayer money to fund, let's say, Jeb Bush's campaign. I don't want public funding. That's why I don't want public funding. I don't want my own money to go to people I don't support against my will. However, I do support campaign finance reform that limits the politicians. It limits how much a politician can take in. I support that. I do. So yeah, I think he's partially right on campaign finance reform. He's right, but the system's corrupt. He's honest. He's an honest, authentic guy, which is, even when I disagree with him, I respect him. Foreign policy, he seems pretty good on foreign policy, but the more I learn about him, the less he seems good on foreign policy, because he supports. What did he say recently? He said something recently that sounded kind of hawkish. I'm kind of embarrassed. I don't remember, but he said something hawkish lately that even a lot of progressives are calling him out for. I think he said something like we should have a role in Syria. I don't know if he did or not. I'm not saying he did. I'm not gonna say he said things that I don't know if he said that, but I think he did. I know he said something recently that was really hawkish that progressives frowned upon. I don't know exactly what it was, but I think it had to do with Syria, but I could be wrong. So just take that with a grain of salt. But he still seems decent on foreign policy. So yeah, I do respect Bernie, and I honestly kind of want him to win the general election. Because on to the next candidate, I do not want Hillary Clinton to be the nominee. I think when I watch Hillary Clinton, she seems like the most fake, insincere politician ever. She supported the Iraq War, and then she's against it now that it's convenient. She supported the war in Syria. She created chaos. She was a strong part of creating chaos in Libya. She's a corporatist. In fact, there was a bill. I don't know if the bill was good or bad. I don't really know much about the bill itself. But Elizabeth Warren, there was like a bill that had to do with banks and whatnot, and she told Elizabeth Warren, supposedly the bill would give banks more power, but I don't know. It was a very pro-corporate bill. I don't know if it was a good bill or bad. I don't know if I would support it or wouldn't. But this is just telling about her character, what I'm about to tell y'all. She told Elizabeth, back then, I think it was like around 2003-ish or 4-ish, something like that. Just look it up. I'm sure it'd be easy to find. But she basically told Elizabeth Warren, I'm going to vote against this bill. And she had Elizabeth Warren's back. And then when it came time to vote for the bill, she voted for it. Yeah. Yeah, she basically lied to Elizabeth Warren and voted for a bill that would increase corporatism. And again, I don't know if the bill was bad or not. I'm just trying to explain that says a lot about her character, the fact that she lied to Elizabeth Warren. So I'm not saying if the bill was good or bad, I'm just saying it shows a lot about, it's very telling about who she is as a person. And she's a hawk, she is a neocon, like she is basically Dick Cheney if Dick Cheney had a sex change when it comes to foreign policy. She's just good at disguising. She is a hawk, but she is really good at coming off as a dove. But she is a hawk. She is just very good at disguising herself. So I do not support Hillary. I get so mad where... Oh, one thing Hillary did in the debate that made me facepalm, and she does this all the time. Well, I don't know if she does it all the time, but I've seen several times where she's done this. She was asked, how would you be different from President Obama? She says, well, I'm a woman, so isn't that? And she also was asked, you are an insider. Like, she is an insider. She's a prime example of what an insider is. And she was asked, how could an insider like you beat a lot of the outsiders in this race? And she said, well, I'm a woman, so doesn't that make me an outsider? I know it's hilarious how she's very feministic, like she rallies against sexism, rightfully so. Sexism is a bad thing, so she's right for the most part rallying against sexism. But she does a lot of sexist things on the campaign trail. I'm a woman, so that makes me an outsider. Or we need to have we have to have a president that's a woman. I mean that within itself is sexism right there. The fact that she is saying that I'm a woman, therefore that's more of a reason to vote for me just because of my gender. Yeah, so she's just contradicting herself there. Yeah, I mean, that was a sexist statement within itself. I'm a woman, therefore I should be president. Yeah, I mean, if Bernie Sanders said, I'm a male, so that's an extra reason to vote for me, that would also be sexism. But when Hillary does it, it's like, yeah! I don't know, it makes me sick. It really does. So I obviously do not like Hillary. I do not like Hillary at all. She's probably one of the worst people I could picture becoming president out of all the people. Who's the worst? I might talk about that later. But, yeah. So that's basically my thoughts on all of the candidates. Now, let's talk about Joe Biden, even though he announced he's not running. I think Joe Biden, he seems like a lovely person. He seems like a very nice guy. But, I mean, for one, he supported the war on drugs. And from what else I can tell, he would just continue the status quo. Yeah, you know, typical modern day politician, doesn't even talk about the Federal Reserve. Continues. Now I think he does say some good things like war should always be a last resort. But he seems to support Obama's foreign policy, which is a war hawk disguising himself as a dove, basically. Yeah, less hawkish, but still hawkish. That's basically what Obama's foreign policy is. Less hawkish than the neocons, but it's still hawkish. And in some ways, it's actually more dangerous because it makes you think, well, this is anti-war, but no, it's not. It's very deceitful. It's very deceptive in that way because it makes you think, oh, they're anti-war, but they're not. Yeah, so it's very dangerous in that way. So overall, that's my thoughts on the Democratic race, and I surprisingly made this video pretty short. And by the way, it's Halloween. Yeah, today I'm recording this, it's Halloween, and I'm about to go rolling with some friends in a few hours. Late night rolling. What time is it right now? What time is it? It's not like anyone would care what time it is. I just like to fill up time. I just like to talk. It's exactly 7:28 Central Time. I'm going rolling at 9 o'clock with some friends. That's just all filler. Yeah, pretty irrelevant to this video, but what do you guys think of, what are your guys' thoughts on this video or the Democratic presidential election in general? And have any interesting thoughts, just comment, and see you later.